Imagine a man so respected that a major Las Vegas hospital, a sprawling shopping mall, and a country club owe their existence to his vision. Now imagine that same man being identified by law enforcement and congressional committees as one of the most powerful kingpins of America's national crime syndicate. This was the impossible paradox of Morris Barney Moe Dalitz. He was a bootlegger who never took a drink, a gangster who was never convicted of a felony, and the man they called Mr. Las Vegas. His is the story of how the mobster who helped build the criminal underworld literally rolled up his sleeves and built the glittering desert oasis of Las Vegas from the sand up. To understand Moe Dalitz, you have to go back to the Roaring '20s, a time when the American thirst for illegal liquor was at its peak. Born to Jewish immigrants in Boston in 1919, Dalitz grew up in Michigan, learning the laundry business from his father. When Prohibition began, he saw an opportunity that didn't require a gun, just a truck. Using the family laundry vehicles as a cover, he started running whiskey. He soon realized that survival in this dangerous new world meant forming alliances. Dalitz connected with the notorious Purple Gang in Detroit, a group of bootleggers and hijackers who controlled much of the Michigan underworld. When the violence in Detroit got too hot, he moved to Cleveland, where he became a leading figure in what would be called the Cleveland Syndicate, or the Mayfield Road Gang. This wasn't just a bunch of thugs, it was a sophisticated organization that ran liquor from Canada across the Great Lakes, building an empire on the simple principle of supply and demand. Years later, when a senator pressed him about his illegal past during the famous Kefauver hearings, Dalitz famously replied without a hint of shame, "If you people wouldn't have drunk it, I wouldn't have bootlegged it." What set Dalitz apart from the trigger-happy gangsters of his era was his foresight. While others were spending their money on flashy cars and diamond rings, Dalitz was buying into legitimate businesses, laundries, real estate, and even a steel company. He understood that Prohibition wouldn't last forever. When it ended in 1933, he didn't fade away, he simply shifted his operations. He moved into the world of illegal gambling, running lavish casinos in Ohio and Kentucky that were protected by the local politicians and judges who frequented them. He quipped to a friend, "How was I to know those gambling joints were illegal? There were so many judges and politicians in them, I figured they had to be all right." Then, something unexpected happened that adds a fascinating layer to his character. At the age of 41, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Dalitz enlisted in the United States Army. He didn't use his wealth or connections to get a safe posting. He served as an officer in the Quartermaster Corps, where he used his expertise to create mobile laundry units for troops on the front lines in North Africa, a contribution that earned him a non-combat award for his ingenuity. This was the same man who had spent 2 decades evading the law. It's a stark reminder that history's villains are rarely cartoon characters. They are complex human beings with surprising depths. After the war, Dalitz saw the future, and it was a dusty railroad stop in the Nevada desert called Las Vegas. He led a group of Cleveland investors to partner with Wilbur Clark, a dreamer who had run out of money building a lavish resort called the Desert Inn. In 1950, the Desert Inn opened, and with it, a new era began. Dalitz didn't just want a casino, he wanted a destination. While Bugsy Siegel had opened the Flamingo a few years earlier, it was Dalitz who truly understood the blueprint for modern Las Vegas. He knew that gamblers needed more than just green felt tables. They needed greenery, luxury, and entertainment. He built the first championship golf course in the desert behind the Desert Inn and created the prestigious Tournament of Champions, which put Las Vegas on the map as a resort, not just a gambling town. But his vision extended far beyond the casino floor. Dalitz knew that for Las Vegas to survive, it had to become a real city with a real community. He formed a development company with partners and began to build the city's infrastructure. They built Sunrise Hospital, the first major medical center in the valley. They built the Boulevard Mall, which brought suburban shopping to the growing population. They built the Las Vegas Convention Center, which Dalitz himself considered his greatest achievement because it ensured a steady stream of visitors year-round,
not just on weekends. This was the other side of the coin, the gangster building hospitals and schools. He even became the first person to donate $1,000 to help build what would become the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yet the shadow of his past never fully receded. He was always a person of interest to the FBI, who suspected that he was the unofficial referee for mob families trying to stake their claims on Las Vegas casinos. He used his connections with Teamsters union boss Jimmy Hoffa to secure massive loans from the union's pension fund to finance his projects, loans that traditional banks would never have approved for casino operators. In 1975, Penthouse magazine published an article calling his lavish La Costa resort in California a playground for mobsters funded by dirty money. Dalitz, who by then saw himself as a respected businessman, did something unprecedented. He sued for libel. The legal battle was epic, costing millions. Though the case eventually ended in a stalemate, the trial forced Dalitz to admit under oath to his decades of bootlegging and illegal gambling, revealing the foundation upon which his empire was built. Moe Dalitz lived the rest of his life in a strange duality. He received the Torch of Liberty Award from the Anti-Defamation League presented by Joan Rivers for his philanthropy. But he was also named one of the top organized crime figures in California by a state commission just a few years earlier. When he died in 1989 at the age of 89, his funeral was attended by a remarkable mix of mourners, former sheriffs, sitting judges, the mayor of Las Vegas, and, one can safely assume, many old friends from Cleveland who preferred to pay their respects from a distance. Moe Dalitz's story is not just a tale of crime and punishment, it's a story about the birth of an American city. He was the man who washed the dirty money of Prohibition and reinvested it into the clean, dry concrete of the Las Vegas Strip. He was a criminal who became a civic leader, a paradox who left a city in his wake. He proved that in America, you can build an empire, you can reinvent yourself, and you can even build a hospital. But the one thing you can never truly outrun is your own history.